I thought I knew how to eat well. She got me one of those books that like literally lists out calories and fat. The binge eating can still be a problem sometimes. You put money in on like yourself. I found out that my weight was an issue with my husband. It's only going to get worse.
And you're happier.
Like, I am so glad I did it.
Allison goes through her incredible and ongoing transformation. You'll see how childhood fed into her weight gain, why it led to weight loss surgery, and how she still needed a GLP-1. Yet, she wouldn't change a thing. It all starts as a teenager, and it's heartbreaking. You were trying to lose weight even at the age of 16 when you weren't even overweight.
I would say, I guess maybe technically by BMI, I was overweight. I guess 150 is where it says I'm supposed to be. And I would say when I was a teenager, I was about 160 or whatever. I developed early, blah, blah, blah. So all of my friends are very thin. So I thought I was like humongous. Now I look back at pictures and I'm like, oh my God. But
Allison may sound casual, but this next part just reveals how deep some of these barriers can go and reveal why many people need more help than just the generic eat less, move more advice.
all this time, I thought I knew how to eat well because I knew how to eat at a calorie deficit. So in my head, I was like, oh, I know what I'm supposed to do. I know what I'm supposed to eat. I just have a problem following through with that sometimes, blah, blah, blah. I learned that I did not know how to eat well. I demonized certain things that didn't need to be demonized, and then other
Like
things.
what?
Fat. Part of the reason I have an eating disorder is my mom is like, she's always been thin. That's always been something she's been focused on. I, was like a kid who wanted to like eat snacks. She'd be like, you're having too much. You're getting chubby. We need to, like scale it back, like that kind of thing. And I remember, I think I was in middle school. She got me one of those books that like literally lists out like the calories and fat and everything for.
In middle school?
Yeah.
She wasn't even overweight, but I don't need to tell you what a terrible thing it is for a middle schooler to count calories. This experience fuels a very confusing lifestyle where Allison doesn't even know what healthy is anymore, which we'll get into. What was a day in the life like?
All that I ever tried to do when I lost weight was like calorie restrict. And so obviously that's not really sustainable long term because I wasn't taking into account protein and all that kind of stuff. And also just had a pretty sugar heavy diet. So it would be kind of like a Starbucks drink in the morning, like full sugar latte. I didn't realize the calorie bombs that were in these like super low, non-satiating, like no protein items, basically.
Despite this, it's not like she couldn't find success.
I did Weight Watchers and lost like 40 pounds or something like that, like maybe almost a decade ago now. But
What caused you to kind of stop or maybe fall off or get the weight back?
so I think I would go too hard and burn myself out because I would try to, eat 1,200 calories a day and go to the gym like 5 days out of the week or something like that. And that's how I would like try to start things instead of kind of gearing up to it. Yeah. And so then, it's not sustainable. And after a few months, it's like, oh, this is terrible. And then I would just not.
This last one is a bigger deal than most people would realize.
I don't know if you've ever heard of Healthy Wage, but it's basically you place a bet or like you put money in on like yourself kind of. And if you can actually get to that goal that you set, then you win that money back. And if you don't, you lose it. I'm usually like very determined by money and stuff, but I lost my Healthy Wage bet.
Can you imagine betting real money on yourself and then still failing? That alone feels like enough reason to consider next level help. But unfortunately, it doesn't stop there. How did you hear about weight loss surgery or start to consider it?
3 months before I ended up following through with getting it, it was just like I got to a point where the highest weight I'd ever been, so I was 250 pounds, and I was noticing like I was getting winded when I was going to tie my shoe or getting out of bed. I had to take it took a lot of extra effort. If I had to bend down on the ground and pick something up, I would try to only do it once and like not being able to cross my legs. It's only going to get worse as I get older.
This last reason was exceptionally tough to hear.
Part of the reason that I initially got the surgery is that I found out that my weight was an issue with my husband. And it was something that, I don't know, I think I knew, right? And I had brought it up, but it wasn't something that he was wanting to like admit. Once I found that out though, I was like, okay, like I didn't only do it because of that, but that was a contributing factor.
Okay, let's look at the big picture. In middle school, a healthy girl was pushed to diet for a body type she simply just wasn't built for. The pressure clearly fed into an eating disorder. She isn't lazy. She's lost over 40 pounds multiple times, but it's always come back. She even bet money on herself, and that failed too. Add in a partner who's unhappy with her weight and the physical toll she feels. I can't imagine being in that spot. And I can absolutely see myself seeking medical help, even if it sounds intense.
I actually think I might want to do this, even though it's like scary to hear that you're going to get like 80% of your stomach removed. So
You mainly hear about two surgeries. First is the sleeve, where they remove 80% of the stomach. The more intense option is gastric bypass. This removes part of the stomach but also skips a portion of the intestines so you absorb fewer calories. Simply put, bypass means more weight loss but higher risk. Allison went with the sleeve, which means 80% of her stomach was removed. Still scary. And so if we zoom into the first day, you kind of just wake up and you have to go home. What was that like?
when I woke up, I definitely didn't feel amazing, and you don't want to have to move around, but you literally have to. Like you have to walk around once every hour because you could get like blood clots. Also, like the gas builds up so badly and it's like in your chest because you just had 80% of your stomach removed. So to be able to kind of relieve that, you've got to get up and walk around for like 10 minutes pretty much every hour that you're not just sleeping.
I was very curious to see if the surgery impacted her food noise at all. Food noise, cravings, things like that. Was that a problem before? And did that change after the surgery, and how so?
Food noise has always been really bad for me. I'm like diagnosed like bulimia, but that, now that's a few years in the past, but like the binge eating can still be a problem sometimes. When you get the 80% of your stomach organ cut out, it isn't producing ghrelin for the first 6 months to 1 year. So you're not feeling those hunger cues.
Ghrelin is a stomach hormone that drives hunger and even cravings. Post bariatric surgery, levels plummet, but typically rebound 8 to 9 months later. While this can slow weight loss, it rarely ever causes actual weight regain. But everybody's different, and so we're going to see how this plays out for Allison.
A lot of the times I was like needing to make myself eat, right? I was like feeling like I needed to, or I needed to, like, you're supposed to get at least, I think it was 65 grams of protein in a day, like to start. So it would be basically like I would just have to drink 2 protein shakes a day because that was literally the only way that I was going to be getting it in.
I know there's a lot of symptoms that can come with bariatric surgery. What were some of those that you had to be cautious of?
It's called dumping syndrome. And it's basically,
We won't make Allison do this one because dumping syndrome is exactly as it sounds. You do some dumping. Because of the stomach's smaller size, fats and sugars enter the intestines too quickly. This pulls fluid in rapidly, causing an urgent need to rush to the bathroom. Since sugary and fatty foods are the main triggers, let's see if Allison had to give these up. Forever.
So I was very pleasantly surprised to see that like I could still have like little amounts of stuff that I liked, and it wasn't just like, oh, never again. Like you could literally never eat another like chicken tender, or whatever. It's like,
How strong did some of these things like dumping syndrome, nausea, we can call it, would come on, and how long did that take to start disappearing during your recovery?
to me, it was really when I would eat too fast. I've always been kind of a fast eater anyway, but you're like, when you get the surgery, you're like supposed to take like 30 minutes to eat 4 ounces or something. Like, I mean, you're really spacing it out at first.
Do you remember the first time you experienced it?
It's crazy because it's like one bite gets you there. Like it's, you'll take three and it's that third bite or something. That's just, it's over. You know it immediately. You hit a wall. It's like, oh God. Like, and I was running to the bathroom. Ever since then, I'll immediately feel, oh no, I'm in trouble, but I don't immediately have to go to the bathroom. But I'm like, I need to stop right now. If I continue like eating, I am going to have an issue.
Can that still happen?
Yeah. You can get dumping forever, basically.
So why would anybody do this? Well, maybe there is some benefit. A lot. Beyond weight loss. When did you feel like maybe you started to surpass your old self and the amount of physical activity you could do, start to feel those benefits?
One kind of crazy side effect that, my husband let me know about is pretty much as soon as I had the surgery, like my snoring had been like egregious before. He said that before I even really lost any weight or anything, I stopped snoring. Like I got home that day from the surgery and I no longer snored. I don't know why.
After surgery, the body dumps a lot of fluid, instantly relieving pressure from the neck and airway, often bringing immediate relief. Then, as the weight continues to come off, that improvement sticks. Amazingly, many people stop snoring or alleviate their sleep apnea immediately. So, how did the pace of the weight loss change over the recovery period?
Drastic. It was a lot. So yeah, like I said, it was like 50 pounds in 6 months. So
And I've heard when people get bariatric surgery, they talk sometimes about having lower cravings and things like that, but it can vary from person to person. Did you experience this and did it change over time?
I would get hungry and stuff, but I wasn't, oh, I really have to have this or whatever. Once I think the ghrelin started coming back in is when I would get cravings again. And at that point, I would still have like some binge eating episodes. They look a lot different now than they did. It looks like a regular amount of food, right? But it's that loss of control feeling that kind of qualifies it as a binge eating.
It's called subjective binge eating, and it's a prime example of where something like bariatric surgery is just not going to cure everything. But Allison's specific approach to dealing with it is something I've actually never heard of before.
I started staying stagnant because I would be pretty normal all day. And then at night, it would just be like, I just have this loss of control. I've got to eat. And I actually had to get onto Vyvanse to kind of curb the binge eating.
Vyvanse is commonly prescribed for things like ADHD, but in 2015, it was also approved for binge eating disorder. It makes sense since ADHD is associated with a loss of impulse control, a classic hallmark of binge eating disorder. But what's going to matter later in the story is that Vyvanse is also an appetite suppressant.
It has helped a ton.
What were your emotions with stalling? Because it sounds like it wasn't coming back like it used to be, but maybe one would be upset that it's not going down anymore.
I was feeling a little bit of feeling like I had failed or whatever it was. Like I knew that I had already lost 50 pounds. That's not failure, but I was like looking at other people's journeys because some people lose a crazy amount of weight, but usually those are the people who aren't taking in food well.
You are at this stagnant point and you are thinking about going on a GLP-1. Talk me through like when you finally decided to make the decision, what that looked like.
I had some friends who had done GLP-1s. Well, one of them, like it worked really well for her. And it actually, I didn't know that that's what she was on until I brought like up to her. And then I had another friend who lost a lot of weight on it, but like as soon as she wasn't on it anymore, she put it all back on. And I had read all the horror stories of people who were having terrible stomach problems and like feeling terrible all the time and how it zaps your muscle and all that kind of stuff. So I was definitely worried about that.
Let's clarify GLP-1 risks. Nausea is common, but the rate of muscle loss when taking a GLP-1 is the same as somebody losing weight without them when the weight loss pace is the same. And the fix is simple: weight training and getting enough protein. Current data does not really support any link with pancreatitis or suicide thoughts. There is, however, a rare eye condition, NAION, but the risk of this goes up from 1 in 10,000 cases to 2 in 10,000 cases. My real concern is malnutrition from not eating enough, especially since Allison is post-bariatric surgery and also taking Vyvanse, which is an appetite suppressant. So I was really curious to hear how that went.
It was probably 8 total months of being stagnant before I was like, okay, it's been long enough. This isn't happening on my own. I need the help. That's okay. I'm going to go and ask my doctor for this.
You start Zepbound, you get the first injector. What is that like?
Having to do it yourself is scary, but the needle is so small that like when you're doing it, it's like not even, you don't even really have to press the hard into your skin. So once I realized that, I was like, oh, okay, this is way easier. Got to do it once a week. I would say the first day that I do it, I definitely will get like a wave or two of nausea for maybe 20 seconds or something like that. My appetite is like shot with it though. So one thing that's been interesting is because of the whole eating disorder in the past is I went from like severe calorie restriction to now I'm like having to make sure I eat enough. So there are days where I'm like, I need to make myself a protein shake because I have not had enough protein today.
Does it feel mentally better that you're now kind of in a mindset of not having to worry about restricting so much, but actually like more focusing on nourishing yourself?
A million times better. Like, it's like I just eat what I want to. And now what I want to eat is different. Like, it's like just my My whole mindset set shifted.
A hidden benefit of GLP-1s is how they shift your focus to nourishment. It takes years to build unhealthy patterns, and so the medication buys you time to rewire the brain out of them. Now, Allison doesn't want to be on these forever, so we're going to see if she actually has a plan and what she needs to prioritize in order for her to succeed. So you're planning on getting off the GLP-1s?
Yeah, I don't want to be on them forever. Once I get off of the GLP-1s, I'll definitely be increasing what I eat because sometimes, honestly, I don't take the Vyvanse during the day because with the GLP-1s and the Vyvanse together, it really takes out my appetite.
Were you prepped at all for how to start to think about that?
Honestly, no. And with the GLP-1s, there wasn't really any prepping for me personally either. Just kind of like, oh, great. Oh, you want this? Awesome. And they also, and I think this is pushed by the pharmaceutical companies, but the starting dose is 2.5 milligrams. And they won't let you stay on that though. You can only do that for your first set of vials. They make you move up. After 2.5 months on that, I moved to the 5. And I've been on the 5 since then. And it's still totally working. I don't have to move up to that 7.5 and keep going up.
You increase the dose over time because it helps reduce the stomach aches and discomfort. Now, Allison is going to share one of her most insane benefits of this entire weight loss journey.
Like my doctors definitely take me more seriously now, which is like total BS.
In what way?
So it's kind of like everything was just attributed to the weight. It's like, oh, like your depression, like, you should lose some weight. And if I'm coming in for, I don't know, like I had like a wart that I had to keep getting treated on my finger and whatever. If I'm coming in for that, I don't need you. Like, there's no way that has anything to do with my weight. Like,
and you said earlier in the interview that people treated you differently. What has that been like?
People are a lot more willing to like go out of their way for people, they deem attractive or not fat or whatever it is. It's like I get like service people and people in stores and stuff are always asking me if I need help now, whereas before that really was not the case.
These benefits not only improved Allison's self-confidence, but they also did something else that's pretty amazing.
This friendship isn't benefiting me. I feel like it should be or whatever. Whereas before I'd be too afraid to say anything or potentially let that go or whatever. Now it's like, I don't have to be in this if I don't need to. And it's like crazy that just something like weight loss can, affect your psyche so much and make you realize like, oh, okay, like I can ask for more.
Was there anything you were doing that you thought was working or helping you during this process that actually maybe it wasn't?
Negative self-talk. I don't know. I'm like, oh, you gotta keep yourself on it, whatever. And I realized that actually has quite the opposite effect.
How'd you stop doing it?
Honestly, part of it was like therapy, having to be like talking to my therapist and having her like logically kind of lay out how I'm speaking. And she's like, just imagine your little sister or whatever is like thinking these same things. And like, what would you think to her, say to her? And it kind of helped put things in perspective because I would like literally never, ever talk to her or my friends that way. And my therapist is like, why would you talk to yourself this way? Like it's affecting your brain.
This next part is one of her best pieces of advice. What do you think somebody needs to do if they're considering this to decide if either of these pathways are the right one for them?
Even though you're going in for the physical, it really does affect your mental so much. So you really do need to have a strong support system. You really should be talking to a therapist who kind of has, an idea of this kind of stuff because it is really jarring going from fat to not anymore in like a short amount of time.
But do you think these tools, they helped enable you to go through the internal stuff?
Both the surgery and the GLP-1s is literally that they're tools. If you didn't actually change how you're eating and how you see food and your lifestyle and everything, like it's not just like a one step, okay, everything's perfect forever and you never have to think about it again. But that doesn't mean that I'm not still like having to focus on new things and like, challenges and stuff.
Yeah. And you're happier.
Like I am so glad I did it.
Since starting the GLP-1, Allison is down 25 pounds and counting. But what does she need to do to ensure she doesn't gain the weight back? Now, there are many, but these 2 buckets are the most important to start with. The first is building muscle. Believe it or not, strength training can help with cravings, boost your metabolism, and converting fat to muscle. Plus, more muscle simply makes the fat on our bodies look leaner. The second bucket, and most important in my opinion, is mastering hunger. There are properties in food that affect how hunger-crushing your meals are going to be. I fully break this down with a formula in this video, and then give you real-world examples in this video. Go check it out.